Hey, I'm Creech and this is Creech and Cars, where I talk about car news, history, and culture. Today, I'm going to be going over everything we know so far about the Polestar 4. As the Volvo adjacent EV brand continues to grow, it's adding more models to fill out the lineup and bringing some new innovations to the market. So today, I'll go over the exterior and interior design of this compact crossover, as well as the features it has to offer. Then I'll go over the mechanical and performance specs. And finally, I'll compare it to the competition and give my thoughts on whether or not the Polestar 4 will be successful in the current EV market. First, let's take a look at the exterior design, where the Polestar 4 looks much more Chinese than the 1 and 2 and mirrors the design of the newer 3 and 5 models. The front fascia and headlights really deviate from the Volvo look and appear to have had much more Geely influence. The LED running lights are reminiscent of the Polestar badge, especially if you crisscross them. There's a decent looking blacked out grille, and the bottom of the body is traced in some black cladding that hints at this model being a little cheaper, but we'll get to pricing information later in the video. Starting with the fender flares, you can see some more body lines and creases that rake back across the windshield and sides of the body. It's definitely a busier design and much less boxy than what we've previously seen in Polestar's short history, and again looks much more suited to the Chinese market, even though it will go on sale in the US. The glass roof and trim around the windows are blacked out, and the door handles close flush, which does clean up the design just a little bit. The rim design is very busy and the wheels do look sporty, but again, I think it just could be cleaned up some. Looking directly at the side, there is a more coupe-like shape with the slope of the roof, and looking at the 4 within Polestar's lineup, this essentially fits in as a coupe version of the 3, which is a proper compact crossover, and the 4 takes that basis and makes it sleeker and more coupe-like, much like something like the GV80 and the GV80 Coupe, or Cayenne and Cayenne Coupe. As we come around to the rear, you'll see what is probably the most interesting part of this design, and potentially a giant leap forward in car design as a whole. The Polestar 4 does not have a rear window. You can see the black roof transitions into a solid body panel that is the rear hatch as well. Somewhat hidden within the roof line is a camera that feeds to the rear view mirror inside, providing a view of what's behind the car. This has sparked some debate, but surprisingly, regulators haven't seemed to show much hesitation about approving it because of the greatest benefits of this design, which are that the view behind the car is uninterrupted by the rear seats and/or passengers, and the effect of harsh glare is greatly reduced. This may be hard for the driver to get used to at first, but Polestar argues that most people who already drive a car with a backup camera never really look out the rear window anyway, so given a little bit of time to get the feel of the Polestar 4 and its dimensions, not having a rear window won't negatively affect visibility. Continuing with the design, there is a rear light bar that is similar to other Polestars, and the bumper finishes off with some more black cladding. Moving inside, the interior is shown with a black and white two-tone design that also features some bright orange seat belts, which are probably the most exciting thing about the interior, as overall it's a very boring and predictable design and layout. The seats give off the Volvo vibe with the one-piece design, and buyers have a choice of knitted cloth, Nappa leather, or PVC leatherette. There's a flat bottom steering wheel, and the center console has a pair of cup holders and plenty of storage underneath. The digital gauge cluster is small and doesn't have a shroud, but features good adjustability so the driver can have the most important information readily available. To the right is the much larger 15.4-inch infotainment screen, which doesn't really have its own operating system and instead just runs on a version of Android. I think this makes sense for the future, especially with many people effectively replacing the car's OS with either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Just using a familiar software like Android will be more comfortable for the vast majority of people, as the driver can access features like Google Assistant and use familiar apps with Google Play. A fairly standard version of Google Maps is also used for the car's navigation system. Below the screen, there is a physical dial with a play-pause button in the center, but no other physical controls, and the gear level is mounted on the steering column. Polestar is sort of a near luxury brand, so features like heated seats do come standard, with ventilated seats and a hardened carbon sound system with headrest speakers being available options. There is ambient lighting inside that is supposed to mimic the solar system as it orbits around the interior. Now let's take a closer look at the mechanical and performance specs along with the technology behind it. The 4 is the fastest Polestar vehicle to date and is capable of doing 0 to 60 in just 3.8 seconds with 544 horsepower from the dual motor setup. However, the base model only uses one motor, which produces 272 horsepower and 253 pound-feet of torque, while managing a range of nearly 300 miles. The dual motor setup has 544 horsepower and 506 pound-feet of torque. Polestar hasn't stated the range for that drivetrain, but it's probably closer to 250 miles. There is, however, a clutch that can disconnect power from the front motor when the driver wants to conserve battery and maximize the range. The battery can also be used as a power source for external devices and appliances. All models will receive over-the-air updates to gain access to new features and system improvements. In addition to that, the Polestar 4 uses the Supervision ADAS and carries over the safety-first mentality from Volvo with the implementation of this ADAS. There are 12 cameras, including one on the interior that monitors the driver for drowsiness or inattentiveness, along with a radar sensor and 12 ultrasonic sensors. There is also an advanced snow mode that Polestar says maximizes safety in snowy and hazardous road conditions. The Polestar 4 has been officially revealed now, and the production is underway with the model launching in China. The first Chinese buyers may get their 4s before the end of the year, but the first North American buyers won't get theirs until later into 2024. Extensive pricing details haven't been released yet for the American market, but the base price will be right at $60,000 and of course goes up from there. So there's everything you need to know about the upcoming Polestar 4, but will this rear windowless coupe-like SUV be able to catch on in the US? Well, this is certainly a very competitive market segment for Polestar to get into, especially with the slowing demand for EVs and the price wars that have been going on for some time now. Comparing the 4 to rivals like the Tesla Model 3 and Hyundai Ioniq 6, the 4 just feels too expensive for what it is. It offers similar features to the competition mentioned, but at a higher price, and with the brand name not carrying much weight, the Polestar 4 just doesn't seem to offer much for the higher price tag. The Ioniq 6 has a more unique design, and the Model 3 is a compact EV staple, making it a good choice for first-time EV buyers. The Polestar 4 isn't ugly, but not having the rear window is the only thing that really sets it apart from the competition. The interior is basic and uncreative. That really shows when it's contrasted with the BMW i4, which is more similar in price. The i4 gives a powerful and sporty driving experience, along with a more luxurious interior and the more established brand name. I think there is a market for the Polestar 4, but it's not large enough for this to mark a breakout for Polestar as a brand. So there's everything you need to know about the Polestar 4. Let me know what you think about this new offering from Polestar in the comments below, and if you like this video, check out the rest of the channel and subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.